Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So tonight's statement is Phyllis Summers is the worst character on The Young and the Restless. I didn't even put that as a question. That's just generally how I think of that person. Is that she is a terrible, awful, god awful human being and just a terrible
She is a
character.
terrible, awful, god awful human being, and just
But sit there. And first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to Amy H. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Ryan, aka JH fans in the chat. Sean is in the chat. How you doing tonight? Hope everyone had a great day. Whew. Have a feeling I'm gonna want to turn on a goddamn AC again. Black Mind is in the chat. How you doing tonight? See, this is the reason why I didn't take the damn AC out the window. Lisa is in the chat. Janice is in the chat. Oh, well then, Lisa, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna be happy with me. I'm doing good, Sean. I had her up today, so it was a blessing. It's a pure blessing. Queen of the South, how you doing tonight? Hope you're well. Good to see everyone. It's only been 2 days, and I felt like it's been 2 years. You're off the rest of the week. Lisa says you don't like it. No, I can't stand her. I cannot stand that jackass. Um, her going off on Christine at her bachelorette party really showed her true fucking colors. And just what's good, Tommy. Ryan says, from what I've seen, Phyllis is just a mean person. She is the Nina of YNR. Oh, because she's a terrible. Yeah, she was very shitty. She was very shitty to Christine for like, and she came down there and picked a fight. And then when they called her crazy, then she went to get an attitude. Like, no, F you. I'm doing good, Black Mod. I was off today, so very happy. Tommy says, how was Beyond the Gates today? It was okay. There was certain things I liked. There were certain things I didn't like. So I will sit there and say it was okay. We're gonna talk about Beyond the Gates too. It's good to see you, Tommy. She blames other she played victim that night. When she came downstairs, she picked a fight, and then when Christine called her crazy, then she went to sit there and play victim. Nah, you don't get to sit there and start fights with people, and then when somebody says something you don't like, you want to sit there and play victim. And the fact that she's so much of a scumbag and stole Kane's program to just sell him out and whatever else that she's gonna sit there and do, you can't be trusted. You are a fucking scumbag, Phyllis. You are a fucking scumbag. I'm not gonna edit myself. That's exactly what she is. Tommy says I hate Carlton after his wife. What a friend he is, not a friend. You know what I didn't like about that, and I'm gonna have to repeat myself. I like the fact that Nicole sat there and acted like she was completely blameless. Regina, George, Phyllis is the same way. Yeah, Nina is a dingbat. You know, I feel like Michael has been playing this whole thing wrong. I don't understand why you would sit there. Kane deserves getting his program stolen. I mean, it's supposed to be a super top secret weapon. I wouldn't. Well, okay, that's your opinion, but like, my whole thing is like, her stupid ass sat there and stole the program. And what is she going to use it for? Oh, I want to get back at people because people don't respect me. Yeah, and you don't give them reason to sit there and respect you. Okay, Ron. I don't think it's really that simple as like he needs to move on. I mean, if somebody shoots you, Ron, I don't think you're just going to be like, oh, well, I just need to just move on. Um, but I do think he needs to sit there and go to therapy. I think he was out of pocket for um coming at JJ sideways when he literally just okay. When he was simply doing his job. Yeah, and then what? She's gonna work with she's gonna sit there and um how is that part? I mean, but that's my whole thing though. Like, Ethel, how you doing tonight? But I don't understand. First of all, okay, you want to sit there and get yourself a new job, cool, fine. But Crimson, I didn't even understand why did you want her to work. Oh, okay, Ron, 1 second. I don't understand. I don't understand how you thought that her working at Crimson was ever a good idea. Not to mention, why would Nina even sit there and accept that? And then the only thing that you wound up doing was putting her in the enemy's camp. And you know Jacinda does not come across as like, well, smart or anything like that. Also, I'm just like, here's the thing about this whole alibi thing. This works out more for Michael than it does Jacinda. Because Michael is her boss. Okay, that's not. Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, yeah, she did want to cave him for that, but like, you could have picked any other job for her to do. I just feel like working there was just a dumbass idea. Ron said, "Did you take Maggie's dress seriously? Problems?" Oh no, and neither did Xander, which is why he did what he did. Ego says, "Hey Albert, I have a feeling you were going to say something about Phyllis. I think she thinks she's gotten one over Kane, but I have a feeling this was always a part of the plan." Well, I mean, I guess I would respect that. Greed and power corrupt some people, yeah. Yeah, she just I feel like every time that she's on, every time she talks, she just is annoying, you know? I don't know if she's not there trying to seduce Kane or some shit. I don't know. I felt like after that whole party that she crashed with Christine, she just made herself look like a giant jackass. Um, I thought it may have been so that Jacinda would keep an eye on Nina, but after today, I think I was wrong. You know, it's funny. Eagle says Phyllis is basically the Nina of wine. What's good, Susan? Susan says, what if Michael knew Nina would try to buy her off? So he set that up with Jacinda. Now it really looks like Willow is guilty. Michael is pretty savvy. Ron says, Albert, I was listening to Phoenix doing his spoilers for the show. He said that he has a sore throat. It's like he always sick. Okay. Thank you for telling me that twice. Um, you know, okay, so I'm watching YNR today, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't I know here's the thing, I know we're supposed to care about Noah and we're supposed to care about Sharon, but I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, every time I see Sharon, her constant crying, I'm just like, "Mm, here we go again. Here we go again." I find myself just not caring. And I know it sounds heartless because she is worried about her son. But every time it's just like, I'm just like, ugh, here we go again. Seriously, I feel like I know that I'm supposed to have a certain level of empathy because that's her son, right? But here's the thing. I partly am disinterested. We haven't seen Noah in like what 3 years, and they talk about oh Allie's not there in the group chat worried about Noah. I was like, oh Allie. Does anyone remember Allie? No. Why did they actually mention her for? The problem is Ryan is that the problem is Ryan is that well one here's my whole thing about Cassie and I'm gonna be honest and I get her Smith is saying, this is like Cassie's situation over again, right? But I have problems with the whole Cassie thing as well. And I know that sounds heartless, and maybe I'm just in the mood to just not really give a damn. But this was not Daniel's fault. Daniel did not sit there and put a gun to Cassie's head and tell her to sit there and drive. She decided to go to a party underage with a bunch of college guys, and they got drunk. And unfortunately, it happened. But them sit there blaming Daniel for it. If Daniel was driving, I would have understood. Nobody told Cassie to do that. Cassie had other options. Cassie chose to sit there and get behind the wheel of a car that she didn't know how to drive. And unfortunately, it wound up happening. And it's a shame, but like, it's not that, Lisa. I mean, I don't try to come across as just being a dick, but like that's the truth of the matter. And again, we haven't seen Noah in years. And the stuff that we saw in Noah was just boring. It was just boring. And the thing is, it was Roy Gibson that was playing Noah last. So they completely wasted Rory Gibson's talent, and General Hospital fans are reaping the rewards for that because no one cared about Noah when he was on. No one gave a damn. What's good, Sean? Um, and I get what you're saying, Ryan. It's just I'm telling you, I don't care. Like I simply don't care. Blame whoever the fuck she wants. If she wants to sit there and blame the wind and the weather that night, she can go right ahead. I just don't care because like, and I also don't like the fact that Daniel um is blaming himself, and that annoys me. Just like JJ. I didn't like the fact, and I know when Jonathan comes in, we're gonna probably talk about that again. But I didn't like the fact that JJ was sitting there, um, pretty much begging permission from Theo to become a cop again. Listen, what happened in the past happened in the past. You can't change that, right? But like Theo being triggered for JJ doing his job, that's a Theo problem. Theo needs therapy. Like that's what it comes down to. So no. I'm talking about Daniel. Like Sharon and Nick blamed Daniel for Cassie's death. All those years ago because Daniel was not there drinking, and because he was drinking, he couldn't drive. So Cassie had to sit there. Well, she didn't have to drive them home. She chose to sit there and drive them home. So that's why I bring that up. No, the whole Noah thing, that's something entirely different. But you're I was answering your question in the sense of like, why Sharon is so, upset because it's like it's happening over again. But I was basically sitting there saying why I didn't really have so much empathy for that story. Um, yeah, I'm like, you don't need Theo's permission to sit there and be a cop, you know? Ryan says, I'm not feeling this nostalgia book thing. Also, Alex needs to go sit down because Jeremy isn't afraid of his threats. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Sean says Audrey causing Noah's accent would make sense. Ryan says, I feel like she would still be upset if it wasn't for Daniel's part in that other situation, so I don't feel like it's relevant here. What are you talking about? I feel like we're kind of getting our signals mixed up. And I know that you're trying to counterbalance me being a dick by having a certain level of sympathy. Um, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, now I'm not gonna go crazy with the pictures, but um, damn. Phyllis has been on the show for a long ass time. And I gotta sit there and say, the actress Michelle Stafford, it's still a beauty, you know. Even after all those years, she is still a beauty. I don't understand why she came on General Hospital. I will never understand that. Like she's been playing Phyllis for so long. Exactly. You're like a chick works out, she takes care of her body, and it damn sure shows. I will sit there and say that. I just don't understand. I didn't know that Jane Elliott um was on Days of Our Lives. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand what you're saying, right? Okay. I'm sure she got pissy about something and quit. What's good, Jonathan? Oh, okay. So, well, I was going off on a tangent about Daniel. So, um, anyway, Days of Our Lives. I think Roger Howard debuts on. Here's the thing, Eagle. I'm excited for Roger Howard debut on The Young and the Restless, but I'm going to be honest. My expectations is actually pretty low. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too, Jonathan. Because I got some shit to say about that. Um, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think that is my expectations is low. I'm gonna get to that in a second, Ryan. My expectations of Roger Howard is low. I feel that people have a certain level of high expectations, and then when the character comes on and they don't have the greatest storyline, people get, they get kind of annoyed. Yes, that is, yep, Lynn Herron's son, yep. All right, so yes, me too, Eagle. Okay, so let's talk about Liam for a minute. Let me take the picture back to me. 1 second. Tommy, she ain't going out with no goddamn Mr. Shepard or Kyle. All right, let's talk about Liam for a minute. Yeah, I can't with this character. First of all, like I said, this whole scene is just hilarious. Okay, because Abe was late to his appointment with Liam, right? But yet Abe is sitting there saying, well, listen, just in the future, if I'm going to commit to a certain time, then you need to commit to it as well. I'm like, Abe, you're late. Fuck. You are late. Uh, Ron, I'm talking about Liam right now. You are late. But also, why is Liam, who looks like a 40-year-old man, is pretty much throwing a temper tantrum like he's in high school. Oh, I don't like this book. I don't like this vibe. I'm out of here, man. You can't tell me what to do. I'm like, Liam, you're like 40. How about we take it down a notch? Like this whole thing is just so stupid. It would make sense if Abe was dealing with an actual troubled teen, not some grown ass man. Like, what are we doing at this point? I just this whole thing is just so goddamn stupid. I don't get it. I really don't. Okay, well, here's the thing though, Jonathan. He looks like he may not be that old, but he looks that old. No, let me see that picture again. Grown ass man in his 40s, like I think it's over at that point trying to redeem y'all. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if he's dyslexic or he has a learning disability. And granted, I'm not gonna sit there and try to make fun of that, but I'm like, bro, what kind of offense needs you to improve your okay, but what kind of offense needs you to improve your reading skills as part of the probation? Facts. Facts. Because he was about to walk out and Abe was like, well, if you do that, then I'm just gonna tell the DA you're not cooperating and you just go back to jail. Or he could do his stuff here and learn how to read. What? Spider says Brit was looking good today. Also, I skipped all Julie's scenes today. I will never ever watch a Julie and Jennifer scene again. I hear you. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna waste the rest of this. I'm just gonna pour this back in. Um, I just I don't know. I just don't know. Hey, you know what? Okay, let's go, Ron. You know, yeah. Um, Jada. Starting to get me on the skipping to yeah. Yeah, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. Sean says, Albert, Carly plan will backfire. It will. It will. And I don't. Oh, okay. Take a wild guess who this is or who this used to be. No, he cannot. Lisa, I don't know if he has a learning disability or not. Take a wild guess who she used to be. Nope. Nope. Very curious if people know who she used to be. Ron says, "What did you think of the way that Martin spoke to Ronnie yesterday?" It was out of character in a sense. Oh, she is from Die Hard. Okay. But she used to actually be somewhere else though. She used to, yeah, okay. She used to be somewhere else though. It was out of character. Like, I mean, damn, you want to get back at Tracy that bad? No, Jonathan, it's not. Nope. I wish I had like the Jeopardy music. I wish I had the Jeopardy music. But yes, Jonathan, she was on the show. No, nope. Eagle says, I don't blame Marty from wanting revenge. Tracy is unlikable snob, but don't use Monica to do it. Former General Hospital, not Reese. Nope. She is not. She is not Reese. What's good, Tracy Steves? That is correct, Jonathan. Correct the Mundo from GH. Nope. Happy Wednesday, Tracy. Ron, I think you know the answer to that question. Come on, bro. You know that. You know the answer to that. Maybe you don't live in maybe you don't live in the same reality as the rest of us, but I think you should be able to figure that one out, Ron. From here to all social media, I've never seen a disinterested of characters like all four of them. Was she a familiar character? Yeah, she was. And no, Ryan, she's not. She was a familiar character. Wow. Eh, she was in some popular. She was in a popular. She was in some popular stories back in the day. Yeah, Lisa, because she married to Curtis. That's why. Wow. No, that's no, that's not Carly. That's not Carly. Oh wow. Okay, I need a drink for that one. Holy shit. No, no, Jonathan. She was on the show. She is not still in. Well, you know, okay, Jonathan, I'm gonna give you a pass. No, it's not Jennifer Houston. I'm gonna give you a pass because honestly, tell you the truth, Jonathan, this was probably before you started watching. When did she leave? What's good, Krista? I gotta look it up. But yeah, I give up. Yeah, do y'all want me to just tell y'all who she is? Well, I guess she really did age in a lot of ways. Nope, not not Karen Westlook. What? There we go, Sean. There we go. There we go, Sean. Sean, you fucking genius. There we go. You didn't use Google image search, did you? Sean's correct. So at this point, Sean, you can sit there and say who the character was. Good call, Sean. And no, it wasn't Susan Moore. So Sean, say who the character was on the show. Nope, no Google. Okay. So who's the character, Sean? I know, Jonathan, because it was before you started watching the show. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for Sean to sit there. Yeah, video. No, she is not from One Life to Live. She was from General Hospital. Hmm. Is Marissa the woman from Alcazar was friends with? There you go, Sean. There we go. Gia Campbell. Damn. Yes, she was recast. Yes. Yes. There we go. Okay. All right. Good job, Sean. Gia Campbell, who is Trina's aunt. She is Trina's aunt. Okay, I can take this picture off now. She is here we go. She is yep, Sean, and that's exactly where that picture was from. Yeah, Lisa, I kind of figured it was before most people's time on this before most people that watch the show, so you know. I think she's actually going to be in Boston Blue too. But it's just kind of cool that she's still acting, you know. Now that was a character that actually had some good storylines. That has some good story. Wish they would do that with Trina. Yep, she is Taggart's sister, so that makes her Trina's aunt. That is correct. I was like, that'd be a good quiz question for tonight. She looks a lot different now. Like Ryan says, I wonder if Nina will ever apologize for being to blame for Michael maybe never seeing Daisy again. I doubt it. How is it Nina's fault? Isn't that a Willow's fault? Like that's more Willow than Nina. No, but Sean, you listen, you did a great job. You did a great job, Sean. Well, I know, because that was before, yeah. No, I believe you, Sean. And I know, Jonathan, that's probably you was watching it. Ron says, do you think that was Jordan's secret to tell, or she needed to mind her damn business? Her and Curtis. Yeah, no, that's a good job. Yeah, I get that, but okay. That's still Willow's fault. That's Willow's fault. Willow did that. Listen. As much as a lot of people don't like Nina, we're not going to sit there and blame Nina for that. Yeah, I think you did, Jonathan. But like, you weren't watching at the time, and I don't know. So, um, yeah, I didn't like. I mean, here's the thing. I understand that they needed people to sit there and what you call it, vent to, but still. Sparkwork says you're wrong. It is Curtis' business because that's his baby, well, allegedly baby, but he didn't know that yet. You don't run around, well, you don't run around and start telling other people's business. Okay, you can listen, Ryan. That's your opinion. Um, so I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna like go back and forth with you about your opinion. But um, isn't okay. Well, Spider, like I said, that's your opinion. If you believe that, that's fine. But mm, oh, that's so good. But I find it to be an out of pocket thing. I find it to be an out of pocket thing to do. Johnson says, "Do you think Dio will be outraged at JJ staying on the force?" He probably will be, but honestly, tell you the truth, at the end of the day, and I said this before you came in, but in all reality, I feel like it's out of pocket for JJ to be sitting there asking Theo his permission to sit there and be a cop. I really do. I it's like it took everything I had not to sit there and be kind of negative about that. Because it's at the end of the day, it's his choice. It's his goddamn choice. So if he wants to be a cop, then he's gonna be a cop. And Theo could, you know, Theo's just gonna have to sit there and deal with it. Like what I'm saying? Like I didn't like the fact that he was asking his permission. Like that's your choice, you know. I still okay. All right. Well, we're gonna agree to disagree on that. We're gonna agree to disagree on that. You think that you feel that you're right, and I'm not here to sit there and try to correct you. I feel that is out of pocket for both Curtis and Jordan to be telling other people that Portia's pregnant. Like, it's just an out of pocket thing to do. Um, Also, listen, at the end of the day, I'm be honest, Curtis, Jordan, Isaiah, and Portia are all kind of shitty people. They're all a pair of jackasses, honestly. Um, at first I was like, why are you they're all out of pocket. Johnson says, what do you think of the Martin Smitty busting and on Samantha? Sexist. Sexist. They didn't sit there and like Samantha said, they didn't sit there and go nuclear when Jessica was with Terrell at the house. Queen Cat Lady. Um they didn't do that. They didn't do that with Terrell. And yeah, I understand that they're being protective parents and stuff like that. I get that, but like, all that winds up doing is just going to make Samantha sit there and rebel. That's all it's going to do. It's just going to make her rebel. And I've seen that. So I'm like, they think that they're like, oh, we got one over on her. Like, we're going to lock her in her room forever. What about Terrell? Oh, well, Terrell can sit there and do what he wants. Like, it's just out of pocket. And Lisa says, Cat Lady, love your channel. I mean, the point is, may not have went as far, but like she was still at the house. She was still at the house, and they didn't act nowhere near that level. Even if dude would have just been there, just putting his arm over her shoulder, they still would have been out of pocket. They still would have acted up. I get it too. I still find it out of pocket. But that's the same thing with Jordan. I still found what she did out of pocket. And listen, just going into I get that, Spider, but like, and again, I understand it to some level. I mean, I'm not a parent, but like I get them being upset, but they don't my point is that they don't treat them equally. That's my point, and I'm standing by that. I know you and Jonathan Smith is saying that Samantha went a little bit further than Tyrell, but what I'm saying? Like, they don't treat them the same. And so I understand where Samantha's coming from. I also find it very laughable. I also find it very laughable that they're saying, "Oh, we got to protect our 16-year-old daughter." I was like, "This girl look like she's 30 something years old." But we're gonna sit there and be like, "I have to protect my 16-year-old daughter." I'm just looking at her like, "Come on, really? Like seriously?" Um, yeah. So I just Oh, absolutely, Jonathan. Drew's coming in and telling everyone, get your shit and get the fuck up on out my goddamn house. Sean said, I don't like this Ronnie storyline. It sucks. Oh, she's 31 in real life. Okay. Then the actor who plays Tate, only a year older than. Oh, shit. Serious, Jonathan? Yeah. And here's the thing Portia clearly didn't learn a damn thing from the whole Taggart and Curtis thing. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit there and wait until my first trimester and then I'll just deal with it. Great job, Portia. Great job. You really seem like you learned your lesson, as in you didn't learn a goddamn thing. Um, but yeah, like I said, I just find it funny. Like I gotta protect my 16-year-old daughter. I'm just like, sure you do, Martin. And Nicole is another person. Nicole is kind of like Sarah Horton in a sense, right? They love to sit there and play victim, but yet they're not entirely innocent in this whole thing. Or they play a part in it. Like Sarah is playing a part, and Xander beating the hell out of Philip because it's the right thing to do, Spider. Yep, that's right, Lacey. She's gonna sit there and say, "Get your shit and get the fuck on out my goddamn house." And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. I'm going to laugh my ass off. Oh, that's gonna be so great. That's gonna be hilarious. Oh, what else my damn food at? But like I said, because it's gonna be funny, Ryan. Listen, I did a video called "The Story of Michael Cambias." You want to sit there and say that Drew is a monster? You haven't seen a monster. Watch that video. I'll show you a monster. She should tell him after the paternity test, like why. Tell Curtis she's pregnant with his baby if not sure why get his hopes up because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. I just okay. Ron, if I answer your question, will you stop asking me the same question for like four times? Why didn't you take Maggie seriously when she told Xander to his face? Because if he, okay, Ron, because if Xander goes to jail, Philip is going to jail. No, Jonathan, you know I don't do teams. Um, well, Ron, if Xander goes to jail, Philip is going to jail. That's why I didn't take it seriously. Also, I'm getting annoyed with Sarah and Maggie in a sense because I'm like, y'all do realize that the victim is Philip, and if Philip doesn't want to press charges, then I didn't sit there and say it was a defense, Ryan. Ah, Lord, you don't get it, and I'm not. I just don't know if I actually have the patience to sit there and try to explain it. But I know. Drew's bad. He's a monster. Blah 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 blah. I get it. I'm just not there saying that there's other people that are far worse than Drew. Um, um, why using bold letters for Ryan? But who cares? Albert both Xander and Philip goes to prison. They are both thieves, and okay, well then you clearly okay. Well, you know, what, Ron, I answered the question. So, um, anyway, like I said, I'm not a fan of the whole because you know, Spider. It just comes across like someone's yelling. Like I don't. It's like let's just you know. What's good, Lashanta? Johnson says, and this is why Alistair King gets brung up. Yo, Alistair, Alistair Crane is vile. Like, oh my god, that man is just vile. But I don't know, Ryan. I'm just sitting there saying, like, I get it. He's bad. He's a monster. We all see it, but I don't know. After looking at the stuff that I've seen Michael Cambias did, and that is a monster. That is. Oh no, Shauna, we good. We good. I'm just sitting there saying, like, you know, I get a lot of people don't like Drew, and I get why, you know. Like I said, listen, it was fun sitting there trolling people in the beginning, but like then once he did that thing to Wiley, I was like, all right. It was like I can't even sit there and joke about that shit anymore. I know, right, Jonathan? No, I think I'll keep that for the members. But that's right. That's right, Krista. Mitch Lawrence was another one. But you know, it's you know, it's interesting. I well, Mitch Lawrence and Michael Cambias because technically, like, you know, it's they're all in the same universe, right? You know, I don't understand. You know, listen, it's funny watching Bold, like, you know, watching Steffi sit there and try to give her mother advice on like dating and things of that nature. You need to go out there, you need to date, you need to do this. Or having Deacon's kids sit there and tell Deacon, oh, you should dump Sheila, you know, she hurt you, she lied to you. I'm like, this is my issue. Like, this conversation needs to be had with friends, not with their kids, you know, not with their kids. You know, like Deacon needs to be sitting there talking to one of his friends, or Hope needs to be sitting there talking to one of her girlfriends about possibly going back out with Deacon. I don't know who that is. Sparkle says, as much as I hate Drew and want him gone, I'm fine with him buying the house and kicking everyone out when it was the last long. is probably in by December, and Tracy deserves it. Roger Howard as Mitch Bacall. I don't know who that is. Um, I don't, again, like having Brooke sit there and tell her daughter, "Oh, you need to go back out with Liam. You need to give him another chance," and having the dad do the same thing. I'm like, this is the problem with such a small cast on The Young and the Rest on The Bold and the Beautiful, because they don't have actual friends to bounce this shit off of, so they go with their parents, and it's just so odd. Um, Valor, what's good, Valerie? Damn, it seems like it's been a minute. Oh, CN. Okay, thank you, Gary. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember the promo. Yes, yeah, great job, YNR for Smith there spoiling that. Totally forgot about that. And like the hour that we talked about it. That's right. That's exactly what Sean was saying, Valerie. Carly's idiotic plan. Because let's be honest, you turned my daughter into a killer. You had your daughter grow up with killers her entire life. Carly, please stop talking. And that's another thing. I'm just like, how do you sit there and have a practice and you having Ridge, I mean you having Deacon sit there and ask Taylor, no, let's talk about your feelings. How are you dealing with this whole Ridge dumping you and everything? Wasn't it like the most painful, poor thing that's ever happened to you? Well, uh, yeah, Deacon, but thank you for bringing that up. Like, what the? Okay. Yeah, I'm just not really with this whole revenge thing. And also, listen, Jason Smith there asking, no, I don't see it as two different things. My whole thing is, you know, again, Carly, I have my issues with Carly. I have my issues with Carly and the stupid jackass revenge plot. You turned my daughter into a killer. I think it's very hypocritical, honestly. I think it's very hypocritical. You put my daughter in danger. You put your family in danger when you decide to shack up with a mob king, and Michael paid the price for that a couple of times. So no, Carly, you need to seriously calm the fuck down. Oh shit! Never actually saw how it looks. Yeah, so like I'm not that's exactly right. So like I'm not with this whole. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Lisa, are you dating? Are you dating a mob king? Did your Did your children grow up around violence? Did your kids pay for the price that you had? 1 second, Ron. Did your kids pay the price for you dating a mob king? Ron says if Sheila and Lee report her to the board for getting involved with a patient, she can lose her license. Yes, that's true. Exactly, Sean. She's a goddamn hypocrite. So, again, Ryan, I'm not with this whole Carly revenge shit. Like, nah, girl, you're a hypocrite. You are a fucking hypocrite. I said it and I meant it. So, but listen, it gets Carly to do something, and I guess that's fine, whatever. Where was my damn book at? And listen, I know some people are gonna sit there and say, Albert, you're hating on Carly. You're hating on Carly. How could you hate on Carly? There's times I like Carly. Okay. Not everything, not everything that Carly has done has like got me angry or annoyed or anything like that. There's times where I will genuinely like Carly. Okay. But then there's times I don't like Carly. And some of the stuff that she does. Lashanta Sabit, did Jacinda take Nina's money? No. No, she did not. I still don't know why she's throwing in with Michael. I don't understand how that benefits her in the end, but um, like I said, Ryan, there's times I like Carly, there's times I don't. When I don't, well, I'll say it. I don't know if that was supposed to be for comic relief. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be for comic relief. Like I said, and again, Sarah's that they're being upset. It's like Sarah, you also kind of caused this stuff. Yeah, but she's not as high on the suspect list as other people, though. We know that. We know that she's not as high on the suspect list. So, like, in all reality, she can easily just throw in with Nina, get that money, and get out of town, right? Like, again, this benefits Michael way more than it benefits Jacinta. So, other than the fact that she's doing it because Michael's a good person, it doesn't fully, like, mm. you know, um, I don't know if I told you this, but the actor, um, the actor that plays Tony, he actually did an interview with JOJ Media. I didn't get a chance to fully watch it, but it looked like it was interesting. Though, looked like it was interesting from what I've seen. Yeah, yeah, she's pretty. Krista says, "How many months till they wrap up the Who Shot Drew storyline?" Well, I think it'll be interesting. We find out who actually did it. I think we'll find out. I think it'll be interesting. Hopefully, it'll be good. Um, you know, again, this whole Lonnie thing just Somebody told me why, because like I forgot. I was like, why did 1 second, um somebody somebody said why Ronnie did what she did. Like, I don't even understand. Like, Ronnie does not even seem like an evil. Like, it would have made more sense if Ronnie was such a evil or malicious person. You know. Honestly, tell you the truth, Jonathan, it's too early to tell. Well, see, and okay, now, okay, not on it. But the truth of the matter is, Jonathan, we don't know if Aaron wants to raise that child or not. We have no idea because we don't know much about Aaron. We don't. He plays the best friend and the comic relief in a sense. We don't fully know that though. Just says, yeah, it makes no sense why Ronnie would agree to help Martin. Now, somebody says something that was really interesting, and I'm gonna find it. Ugh, this is so annoying. And I still don't understand. It's so annoying. Yeah, but why? Okay, why does she agree to even? uh, Maybe I said it in. But that's what I'm saying. That we don't know. We don't know Aaron well enough to know if he actually like. That's an assumption. She said why she agreed. She agreed to it. Why did she? No, I'm talking about why did she agree to work with Marty in the beginning? He may not, Jonathan, but my point is that we don't like that's an assumption, Jonathan. And I'm not saying that you're necessarily wrong, but to be honest, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't know. We can assume, we can take an educated guess, but we don't. I'm trying to find this goddamn thing, but it's not. I think she said no in the first place. I just, I just, I don't know. I don't like. I think my issue is that I feel like if they would have played Ronnie to be a more malicious person, you know, or she would have felt like she was slighted or anything like that about, her issues with exactly like if she would have been like, okay, listen, Monica screwed me over years ago and I'm gonna get back at her for like why did you agree to even take the house? Like I don't okay, I don't understand why she agreed to take the house. Why? You wasn't even written in the will, so you want to take a house and honestly tell you I felt like she wasn't even lying about like it's too much of a big house and too many people in it. So why did you agree to Sean said, "Did you read about Kayla Monica possibly done in daytime? I'll go get it whether it's true or not. Who knows?" I mean, she's been doing daytime for 20 something years, and that's longer than 20 years because that doesn't count when she was on Port Charles. So I wouldn't. I'm be too surprised. So yeah, I don't get it. Um, I feel like on some level it's probably more fan service than anything else to bring her on board, but they didn't seem like they really planned it out too well. So like that's my whole issue. You agreed to get the house, and then he's like, oh well, if you like what says, I told you why she agreed after Tracy was rude to her at the crib, and the house thing was Martin idea to get revenge on it. Anyway, the point is that it seems if Ronnie was played by Robin Dornfrom, then she would be someone who could play a character with malice intentions. Well, I don't know, maybe, but um, I mean, I don't do couples, so I can't sit there and say that, Ron. Um, okay. Ryan says, "Do I have to press the button and send button in order to send you money? I worry I may have sent you money by accident." Oh no, you didn't send me money by accident because if you did, it would have showed up. So yeah, it would have showed up. It would have literally everyone would have saw it. So, but I'll double check. I don't. It would show up on here though, so I don't think you did. Nope, you didn't. So don't worry about it. You didn't. I'm also surprised Martin is doing all this because of Tracy. Like that's wild. Ryan, I just want to remind you that didn't you sit there and say that you spent like $30 on going to the movies at one point in time? I just I just want to point that out there. But yeah, it's you know Martin doing that like it seemed a little out of character from like I understand that Martin really wants to sit there and get back at Tracy, but I'm like, damn, you do realize that you kicked a bunch of kids out the house as well, right? And you did all this to get back at Tracy for Drew, a guy who you despise. And listen, as much as I don't like Tracy, I'm like, bro, you did that to yourself. You married like four women. Way very out of character. Like he became a completely different person. Yeah, like he tapped into his Cyrus brothers character. Yes, that's very true, Ron. I mean, the point is, we don't know Aaron enough to sit there and decide if he will or he won't do it. And if he does do it, then I guess I have to sit there and stop being, oh, I gotta get the sword, I gotta get the sword, and start looking for another goddamn baby. It just and Spider Quick says hi to you, Jess. Um, so yeah, it's just not really making a lot of sense. Um, but you know what? Fuck it. Okay, we gotta sit there and switch this up and talk about Beyond the Gates for a minute. I know we talked about before, but we gotta kind of get back to it though. Um, okay, so you know, Nicole's not there being like, "Oh, I don't like you two fighting over me," and act like a bunch of Neanderthals. I was like, "Girl, you do realize that you put yourself in the situation by deciding to go out with this man's partner and so-called good friend. Did you not sit there and think that this was not going to happen?" and then get upset and be like, "You two embarrassed me." I was like, "And you put yourself in this situation." And don't get me wrong, that ain't that ain't shit either in this. Yeah, he sat there. He was like, "Oh, the ink is not even barely dry, and you're sitting there going out with Carlton." I was like, "And you screwed and you screwed Leslie." So let's not sit there and try to act on this high horse. Like, bro, y'all both kind of, you know, I'm like, Nicole, you going to sit there and act like the only smart thing that she actually did was realize that she needs to take a step back from relationships, realize who she is without being in a relationship, and then decide. But you know, Carlton ain't shit. Carlton reminds me of Jonathan. Who's that character on This Is Us? Miguel. It's like Miguel. Miguel wasn't shit. That dude was like a brother to you, and like what, maybe a couple years after he died, you decide to sit there and shack up with his wife? When Shanta says, "Do you realize Martin and Drew and Nina plans don't work out?" Yeah, that seems to be the, well, what do you mean by that? Yeah, I'm glad she broke things off for Carlton because that relationship did not need to happen. It just, and you know, Carlton, you kind of a snake. Like he was like, "Yeah, I've been snipped there." And you know the thing is, Ted sat there and said, "Well, yeah, you know, we joked about that and stuff like that, bro. You joke. Listen, that's not something I would ever sit there and joke with one of my friends." Ryan says, "If you can get rid of one character on GH, who would it be and why?" Felicia. I don't feel like she adds anything to the show. I know she's a legacy character, blah 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 blah, but she doesn't add anything to the show, honestly. Um, you know, I'm starting to sit there and think like maybe Trina doesn't add much to the show either. Like you know, it makes me think about. Oh, okay. Most people answer this question, but what else that damn picture at? Uh, no, this one. I didn't have to sit there and think about it. I really didn't. Just everything they do, everything they do, dirt, it blows up in their faces. Seems about right. But Jess, who is this character? She was on GH. She was on General Hospital. Who was she? I know everyone else already answered the question, but you know, I want to see if Jess remembers who this character is. Oh, come on, Jess. You know damn well that like that's kind of the answer. Like, Felicia needs to go. But yeah, who is this character? Okay, all right. I give you an easier answer. There. Now, Jess, who is this character? I know everyone else knows who she is. I want to sit there and see if Jess knows who she is. Ryan says, "Do you dislike Felicia, or is it just that you think she's boring?" They don't do anything for her. I don't have anything against Felicia. I just wish they would give her like some cool stories, you know? Like she's just there to be there to sit there and pick up a paycheck, you know? She's been on the show for a while. Give her that Jess. Jesus Christ. All right, fuck it. You don't know. Sean, okay, you know who she is. You know who she was. I'm surprised, Jess, because I know you was at one point watching One Like to Live, so I thought you would have. That is correct, Sean. All right, I'll take this picture off. She is Trina's aunt, Gia. Gia Campbell. Gia Campbell. Now she's a character I would want them to bring back. That's correct, Sean. Gia Campbell. Now she Marissa, yep, that's right. Ramirez. Well, you said Gia. You said Tagger's sister. I I also asked that question to Jess, but I must not have been watching. I don't remember her. Yeah, like I said, she was an older school character. You might not have, like I said, you probably not have been watching it back then. Like Jonathan didn't know why she was barely living when she was on. Oh shit, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're 100% correct. She dated Nicholas Casson. Yeah, way back in the day. And you're 100% correct. I mean, you don't have to be a dick about a spider, but you're 100% correct. Yes. Yep. Gia is Tagger's sister. Nothing will ever change between me and you. You're my forever dad. Next thing you know, we don't even see this man. Last time we saw Tagger, he was snipped there. Oh, there's what my was. Yeah, I know some people have their hearts set on certain Nicholases, but it is what it is. Spider, like I said, Spider Quake is 100% correct on that. Yeah, I'm kind of joking about that, Spider. Kind of joking about that. But when you read it, it does come across as kind of dickish. But Johnson says we don't even get the so-called Dollar Tree version. Yeah, we don't. We don't. Goddamn shame. But I don't know. I just like I said, it makes me think about Trina and just like I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, does anyone even care if Trina's actually on or not? I know. No, he was under. He was. Listen, the story is that he's drinking somewhere under a bridge, and there was a couple of Nicholases. There was a couple of Nicholas. Is that I'm like, the sad thing is that her best story. Yeah, and she was played by two actresses. Her best stuff was with Spencer, and it was Esme that really pushed her. In a sense, made her character more relevant. Oh man, Spidey, remember those good old days when you would sit there and say something about Trina and people would flip the fuck out? I'm not gonna lie, Spider, I kind of failed you on that one. I was so concerned with that they're trying to protect people's feelings. I see now I just don't give a shit. What Phyllis up to? Stealing shit that don't belong to her and having a plan that's gonna end up blowing up in her face like usual. I mean, like I said, I know. And the sad thing is, I know that people like Phyllis. They defend Phyllis like she's a real person. Like she has that Carly effect on some people. You know, Tracy says, "I care. Care about what? No, I'm just not there saying like, I was about like trying to appease people as opposed to really kind of defending Spiderquake for his opinion. Do you know what's up with Brock? He's been at really. I haven't. This thing is like I gotta check. It's hard to sit there and keep up with other people's channels when you're just kind of so focused on doing your own thing. But like, he hasn't been doing any reviews. Let me see something. Let's see. Oh, there we go. No, he's still doing stuff. Oh, he's on vacation. Okay. Oh, okay. That's my girl, but she's wrong. Back and find her money, Jeremy Starkhead. Oh, okay. It was 4 days ago. Okay. Yeah. Well, like Spider said, he's on vacation. Tracy says the Spencer left Trina character kind of died off. You're right, Spider. Yeah, I did sit there and see some pictures of Rock TV. So okay, well, he's out there doing his thing, living his life. Did Kyle find Claire? Yes, she did sit there. He found her, and she pretty much was sitting there calling that dude a stalker, which uh, kind of like she ain't wrong. Like she needs to sit there and like people like she needs to file a restraining order. You know, like why it always has to be like fucking like third? Because like even today on Beyond the Gates, which I don't understand how we kept getting away from Beyond the Gates, but like even on Beyond the Gates, like even when some stuff works, there's just stuff where I'm just like, okay, so you got Isaiah in town, right? He broke up with some woman named Yolanda. I want to see what she looks like. He seemed like he has this thing going on with fuck, Eva. Catching that they're giving her problems. So it was like Eva said, yo, I'm not going at the Tomas anymore. Why don't you just let me rock and chill? Cat being cat, oh, not only do I not want you to have my man, but I don't want you to have him either because you're trash. Cat, you going out with a trash ass man, and you acting like you just won some sort of victory. Only thing that actually was really funny was, um, when he broke his joystick. See, that was funny. That was funny. I wish Samuel was here because Samuel always sit there and makes it seem like I never say anything nice about the show. Um, but that was funny. That also just sounded extremely painful. Like that whole episode just put me in like pain. And only men are gonna understand that. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, oh, I was just trying something new. I want to be different and wild. Nah. Um, Haley still Smith there trying to kill Bill. That joke was not done on purpose, but we know that's not gonna happen. Like we know that Haley's not going to kill Bill, but my question is, how is she going to get stopped? How is she going to get stopped? Why do I feel like some people want Bill and Danny back together is just beyond me. And this is some women that actually want Bill and Danny back together after the way that he treated Danny. I don't. Oh, see my girl Daphne. See, that's what I said. I wasn't like I wasn't trying to put that joke out there, but it just when does she think? It's funny. I get the joke. I never actually watched the movies. It's on my to do list as far as movies go, but I never actually watched them though. I don't know. With Tarantino movies, it's like Dust to Dawn. The first one was really great. Have a good night, Sean. First one was really great. I did not watch the rest of the Dust to Dawn movies. He's kind of like as far as his movies go. So I couldn't finish watching the Hateful Eight. I just was not going to go through that. But yeah, it seemed like a movie that I'll get to at some point. But yeah, Sean, I will sit there and see you tomorrow. Yeah, it's weird because I haven't been on in like 2 days. Also, like I said, if you're not well, I haven't really been pimping that out yet. I haven't been pimping out lately. But the memberships have been actually really fun now. No, I never actually saw Pulp Fiction. See, when I say things like that, you would sit there and think that I lived under a rock, but no. No. I don't know. If it's on Amazon, maybe I'll sit there and watch it at some point. Valerie says, great movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always interesting to watch like I say the classics. I don't know when Pulp Fiction came out, like the 90s, but like, it's always interesting watching movies from those eras, like the 90s and the 80s. I don't know about going into the 70s, but the dialogue was different. It wasn't as cautionary. But yeah, just on Jason, because I said this in my review, but I didn't sit there and say this in. To be honest, I would have been okay if Anna would have told Jason to kick rocks. He walks in and he's like, "Oh, I need your help." Oh, we're on speaking terms now. Jordan Peele and Chris Columbus. Now I know Jordan Peele. I don't know the other two. I know Jordan Peele, and I like Jordan Peele as a director. I don't know if I necessarily like him as a person. I don't know if I necessarily like him as a person. I could watch his movies and appreciate his movies, but I don't know if I like him as a person. It's like Nancy Lee Grant. I think she's a great actress. I don't necessarily think she's a great person. For me personally. Oh, Steven Spielberg. Oh, no, no. No, I know who Steven Spielberg is. I didn't read the last name. I don't know who Chris is, though.
But I know Steven Spielberg. I feel like you're about to sit there and read me the riot act for a minute. Yeah, there's a couple of movies on my to-do list. Yeah, I mean it's a classic, you know. It's one of those 80 classic movies. It's like Back to the Future. It's like when practical effects or practical sets and stuff like that was a thing. But yeah, just come back on the whole Jordan thing, like not Jordan, Jason thing. Like I would have been okay if Anna would have told him to kick rocks, you know. Jason still made it where it's like, oh yeah, I'm still upset that you manipulated me and this, that, and the third. And it was like Anna told you why she couldn't sit there and go to the place. You know, she's not going to jail. I mean, well, she told you why she couldn't tell you, but she ain't going to jail for you. Oh, well, I would have protected you. Yeah, but you ain't worth going to jail for that. Chris directed Home Alone and the first two Harry Potter movies, among other things. Yeah, I think I've only watched one Harry Potter movie, and it didn't end well. I was never a Harry Potter fan. I remember seeing that movie. I think it was the fourth or the fifth one. I got sick. My ex girlfriend got sick, which is a terrible night. Yes, I'm glad you said the LOL there. Like we're not gonna go there. But never a Harry Potter fan. Also, what I don't understand about Carly's plan. Carly said something that was I think it was interesting yesterday. She was like, um, as long as I do too. I miss she was actually at the Emmys too, and that says okay, move test it on please. Yeah, I she said that as long as she dates Jack, that Jack will have an incentive to keep Jocelyn safe. So if that's the case, then what do you plan on doing with Jack? You think you're just going to magically get Jocelyn out the WSB? I don't understand how that actually is going to work. Because when Anna was there talking to Jason, they was like, okay, we just got to sit there and get Jocelyn another boss. Jason, did you not pay attention to the conversation that you just had with Carly? As long as Carly is whatever, then Jocelyn's safe. And that says Daniel and Tess boring as Claire, anyone next to her. I think I think I think the writers are trying to purposely piss off the LGBT community. I really do because I mean granted they've never wrote Mariah and Tess have a good storyline. They've always sidelined those characters. Always. Just as I don't think Joss is safe and I don't think Jack can keep her safe either. Well, as safe as she can possibly be. Remember, Jack actually picked an assignment just for recon. Now, yeah, things go tits up in these missions, but he pretty much kind of set her up like, hey, listen, you're just going to do recon. You're not going to do anything else. It was Justin that decided to go off script and like, no, we got to get something else. Like, she needed to sit there and prove herself. It is something I don't know about Christopher Columbus. Wasn't he the one who founded America? He's the one that did a lot of evil shit. Come on, bro. Come on, Ryan. I know you're being sarcastic at that point. I'm gonna take that as you being sarcastic. Anna also manipulated Dante and Dex. Hmm. But I don't know. I just is, and that's another thing, Lashante. Yeah, if Carly's plan is to get rid of Jack and then Johnson gets somebody else, listen, if Jack was there to sit there and try to keep her safe as long as dating Carly, the next person is not going to give a flying F and just send her. He did a lot of things, a lot of sexual assault, a lot of killing. You know, he like he did a lot of things to those people. When he came over to America and what he did to the Indians, it was, and yeah, there was some of that too, Ryan. And that says I'm not a LBG, but I'm getting used to the two mommy things. My great niece married her girlfriend. We love them. I hope one day they will adopt. It's just out of pocket. Like they take these characters that are LGBT characters and they don't give them a story. They give them very little story, or they rush their story. And some of the stuff that they show, some of their stories, generally sometimes happens off screen. Oh no, no, I know, Ryan. I know. It's just when you said you didn't know, I was like, all right, let me bring up some stuff so this way you have an idea. Spikewick says, I agree with you on looking at things differently a bit. I agree with you that Josh being WSP is good for it being unbelievable because no one would believe it probably is. She's not a good agent. She sucks bad. But Tracy, I hope Vaughn is not leaving the show. But you know what? You know what? I think if Vaughn leaves the show, it's because I actually like the character. It's because I like the character. Whenever I like a character, like, oh, Albert likes the character. Oh yeah, that person needs to go. Just as Emma is still going on with her dumbass plan, and now she's getting more people involved. She's getting fucking kids involved. She is getting kids involved. And can we give Geo more story rather than being up Emma's ass 24/7? I would appreciate. See, here's my whole thing. I'm tired of Geo's attitude towards his parents. I'm tired of it. I don't care anymore. I'm like, yo, listen, did Monica's death not sit there and teach you anything? Johnson says, what do you think of the book's story on days? What do you mean the book story on days? What do you mean by that? Her plan ain't gonna work and Geo's backing her up is stupid like boy, go play with your Oh, one, I listen. When she finds out that she was wrong, she was owed Jeremy an apology. She gonna owe Jeremy an apology because she assumed some shit that wasn't true. And the thing is, this is the second time. I can't blame Julie because Julie doesn't know all the facts, and the way that they're telling the story, it's like we're supposed to sit there and defend Jeremy because we don't know the history of like we didn't see the history of Jeremy and what he did to Stephanie. All we know is that it happened years ago, and from most people's perspective, they're going to be like, "Well, Stephanie needs to find a way to just get over it." You know, she's being all hostile. She's going to be a damn cock blocker after Jeremy date with Jada ends, and it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know. Jack set up Joss. Yeah. Um, they showed their history on past episodes. On past episodes, right? But I'm talking about like for people that are just watching it now, we don't like we didn't see like anyone's new to the show, we didn't sit there and see how that plays out. So it just comes across like, all right, Stephanie is kind of old. Like we didn't sit there and experience the tension, if that makes sense. Spike Quick says, I feel like Jeremy might grape her because the way Stephanie acting, what else can it be? I mean, she said that he never did anything to her physically. It was all psychologically. Like it was all like he emotionally abused her, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's very early to sit there and tell. Well, I don't think that Jack ever blackmailed Jocelyn into joining WSB. Is that, and you know, it's funny, Jonathan, I said the same thing. I said the exact same thing. So like I get that they're in a bit of a conundrum. And it just, you know, unfortunately it is what it is. I I'm I'm trying not to take sides because unfortunately, well, one, she's the victim, but two, it happened a long time ago. We didn't sit there and see how it played out. Like this isn't like, I don't know. Let's sit there and say Drew and Michael. You know how Drew's just being an absolute asshole to Michael. You know, then this happens like 20 years later on. But new people are sitting there watching it and they don't really understand the history between Michael and Drew. Then they're going to be like, "Well, Michael, you know, you're being kind of out of pocket. Like it happened a long time ago." But me and you and everybody else was watching it now, so we're there to sit there and see that tension. We're there to sit there and experience that emotion of, "Damn, Drew, you're an asshole." I don't know if that sentence made sense. Hopefully, it did. But like, I'm loving Ronnie. So, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I try to compare the two so we can have an idea of like how much we're not getting. But yeah, that did happen. I'm kind of a dick. I'm a dick. Um, and like I said, you know, you know, in the memory stream, we watch these flashback, you know, old school characters. You know, and after seeing somebody like Michael Cambias, I'm like, wow, he was a real piece of work. You know, so some of this stuff just comes across as a bit comical to me. You know, compared to that guy. Not that they're negating what he's saying and doing. I'm just not there saying that I personally have seen far, far worse. And he is, yeah. Oh, and also, like I said, I'm also a dick too. So, you know, there's that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I'm aware of who we're talking about. Ryan, I don't compare Drew to worse a character. I don't compare. I don't comparing Drew to worse characters is helping his case. I'm just saying. That's just like I said. That's just how I feel. Like I said, I think it's gonna be funny. And Ryan, let's not sit there and try to act like overnight I just sat there and started liking Drew. That's not what I'm sitting there saying. So let's not sit there and act like, oh my god, I'm a Drew Kane fan. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Oh, Jonathan, let me ask you a question. Do you know when the new season of The Boys is coming out? I still have others. I still have Invincible to watch, but if you know when The Boys is coming out, let me know. Hopefully, it's not too far out. I do plan on getting back Netflix at some point. Okay, cool. I still have other stuff to watch, so I mean, I love Netflix, but sometimes I feel like I just keep it out of habit. Ryan says, "Why soap rules are that as a viewer, you're only supposed to like when bad things happen to characters you dislike." I know. I'm a pretty weird. I'm a pretty weird person. I'm a pretty weird person. So, like, you know, what if Drew does become worse? I mean, if he, yeah, I mean, granted, yeah, if he crossed into like, Michael Cambia's territory, then yeah, we can put him back at the top. I mean, not at the top. We still got Alistair Crane. We still got Vincent Clark. Like, we still got Vincent Clark, and that's from the same damn show. That story was wild. Holy shit, that was wild. Jess, if you're still in here, oh my god, you've been missing out on our member streams. Nah, Ryan, you're just a weird person. Yeah, that's why I said Vincent Clarkson. Oh my god. Damn, I showed y'all some clips that, well, you didn't even recommend. Which, thank you for, not having my back and throwing me under the bus. I really appreciated that one. But yeah, Vincent Clark's was a took some responsibility for the record. I love it, Jonathan. Here's the Michael Baldwin in the chat. But yeah, that was some wild shit. At some point, we had to do a part two because I feel like I need to actually drink more before I watch some of those scenes. I didn't realize that they were. I didn't realize they were that bad, and not like bad like as it was dumb or it was poorly acted. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I think that's probably the wildest shit that I've ever seen on television, just on a TV screen in general. And I've seen some wild stuff, but that has got to be that was a record right there. Like I said, even some of the cast of the show actually had problems. It went beyond barriers. Like I said, even some of the actors and some actresses had issues with that storyline. How one-sided as a reason for the show being canceled. Like one person was only able to sit there and go through those scenes because he had an acting coach. Have a good night, Ryan. See you tomorrow. So yeah, like I said, that was probably the most that was probably the most wildest shit I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's saying something. It went beyond Barris, yeah, it definitely did. But yeah, all that was done by a former Power Ranger. Listen, I am glad. Okay, let me put it this way: I'm glad that the actor was able to find other work because I feel like that's the type of shit that would get you blacklisted. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how I feel that Hollywood is at times. You pick a role and people look at you a certain way. Yeah, it's not going to end well. Oh, and that's for her and what's her name, Daphne, the chick that played Valerie. She's on Beyond the Gates, being annoying as Nicole now, but before she was Nicole, she was Valerie. Goodness. Like I said, become a member. Become a member. Um, I still remember that one little song that she did that was just like we all had to sit there and just witness that shit and just be like, did she really just sing that shit? Wild stuff. Wild, wild, wild stuff. It was just fun though. God damn. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done this in like 2 days. Even though I was just streaming. It felt like forever though. I do have some fun stuff for the members this week. And I'm gonna get around to doing a member shout out soon. But I think that's probably one of the good things about not streaming Monday and Tuesday is that I get to set stuff up for the member streams on top of the fact that I get out way too late to sit there and do damn near anything. Those are two of the latest days in the week. Even try to do a live stream, let alone barely getting out reviews. Hmm. I'm going to end the stream here. I don't want to sit there and sleep the day away. And I want to get things done early. This way I can get to streaming earlier. So I'm going to end the stream here, but I do want to thank everyone for joining tonight. This was hella fun, like usual. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Have a good night, Blackmon. Have a good night, Valerie. Have a good night, Queen Jess. Have a good night, Spiderquake. Have a good night, Anita. Have a good night, Lashanta. Uh, How are we at? Johnson says November is next month, and that's when the new clinic opens on days. And all the shenanigans that it's going to go down, hopefully it'll be good because, like, they seem like they've been working on this shit for a hot minute. And I'm like, hopefully it won't be too bad. I don't keep my expectations too high on these shows, but I gotta be like, hopefully I'll do something reasonably good. Reasonable. That's all I'm asking for. But yeah, this is fun. This is fun as usual. So thank you everyone for joining tonight. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Johnson says, join us for another edition of Soap Chat without the Bostic. There we go. Johnson says, good night, everyone. Hit the like button. Yes, hit that like button. Share the videos if you can, because that really does help grow the channel 5 years strong, and that is because of y'all. So thank you so much. It's a team effort, people. And I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Laters.